Repetition's the architect of achievement. If you want to get better at shooting, you shoot. If you want to get better at bench pressing, you bench press. If you want to get better at fighting, you fight.
Humans are amazing on finding a way when there's no other option. There's no plan B. If you cannot give yourself that plan B, you'll do whatever it takes.
If you don't sacrifice for the things you want in life, you sacrifice the things you want in life. What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Different Breed podcast, where we are, of course, my co-host Josh Cohn, and we have today none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Taylor Cavanaugh, TCAV TV in the building. Got a nice chest workout in, and honored to have him back on the podcast. This is his second time. The first one was with me. Now we got Josh on here. This is going to be a badass podcast. You guys stick around for all of it. So first and foremost, thank you for driving 2.5 hours, right? 2.5 hours away to come out here, get a lift in, and run this with us, bro.
Man, it was my pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And man, we were just reflecting back. 7 months ago, we got a chance to meet, and you came down there, so I figured it only made sense, man, for me to come up here this time, and it was a real pleasure. This gym's great, Josh, for real.
Thank you. Yeah.
So,
Here, bro.
something that I wanted to bring up first, and a lot of the viewers who see your content, this is something that in person, maybe your clients might see it, but like in person, it's something that I noticed that's like, I had a higher respect for you. Your ability to listen. Like when I talked to you, or like the first time that we met, you were like picking my brain and intently listening to everything that I said.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I remember when I first met you, I thought we were going to show up, say what's up, and you know, I was going to kind of ask you questions. No, you were asking me a ton of questions and picking my brain. And even today, it's like you ask questions. Like it's like you're always learning and soaking up and listening. And I found that to be a very interesting trait that you have that I don't see from a lot of other people. Where does that come from?
Man, I give a shit, right? I care. Right? It's kind of a natural thing because I actually, maybe there's some rooted thing of like insecurity or like I feel like I don't know, possibly. Because I truly see things you're doing, man, and I know I'm like, I have gaps in my game. And I want to continuously improve. You know, I'm like, Josh, dude, man, like, how you getting so dry, man? You know, like, because I have all these gaps where I feel insecure or maybe not as developed or evolved enough. And I'm like, what do I got to do? And so I actually, when I ask questions, I'm not just asking a question to, you know, form my response. I'm actually, I want the information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think to touch on that, I think some of the most people that accelerate at the highest level stack those skills, right, and characteristics over time. Because I think each and every one of us who's grown personally, physically, you know, with our businesses and so on, it all starts from just modeling behavior from people that have gone before you. And like we talked about the emails earlier, like definitely a huge gap in something I'm not doing, which I want to learn more, and we'll talk about that, of course. But like, I'm sure there's some things that I could share, you know, in the competition space. You know, I've been personal training for like 24 years now. So, and it all started as a hobby, but in the personal development space, I mean, that, like, we've talked about this many times, like it's changed my life over and over and over again. You know, just having mentors, getting coaches, competing, just that process is, there's so much to learn, and listening is such a powerful attribute. I agree with you all. And there's a lot of people that just talk and talk, but fail to listen, right? Even when you're talking to a prospective client, that's one of the things that I've learned that it's kind of hard to do in the beginning. I think you talk too much and you don't listen, because it's all about, you know, saying the right things and asking the right questions, but then listening. Because it's two ways, right? It's talking and listening. So I think that's really powerful as well.
Yeah. I mean, they say the greatest salespeople are the ones who are listeners, right? It's because that's how you build the most trust, is by truly actually listening to somebody. They feel like they can open up and they can trust you when you're actually sitting there and listening. And it's interesting because, so I've seen quite a bit of videos where people have, they've either won an event or they've paid to go have lunch with Warren Buffett. And every single one of them said, like, oh, like I thought when I was going to show up, I was going to I had this question to ask Warren, this question, like they had a list of questions in their head they wanted to ask Warren, but they would leave lunch after going to lunch with him. And they said that they didn't even get to ask their questions to him because he was picking their brains and asking all of them questions, which I found like, whoa, like that's, if one of the richest men of all time, most successful dudes is bringing people in who obviously, like, nobody's going to be like above him, quote unquote, right? Besides what, Bezos, Elon, right? Like, and he's picking their brains and listening to them and learning from them. I thought, wow, there's power in the knowledge that you can get from other people. So that was something that I noticed about you the very first time we met. And even today, I was like, wow, I got to bring that up and see where he gets that from.
Yeah, thank you. And I honestly, in the military, it was really helpful because for getting into the SEAL teams, definitely in the Foreign Legion, because there's a language piece too, right? There's like, you're speaking in a foreign language, but as a new guy, you're getting in, what are you going to talk about? You know, you better start asking questions. And more importantly, you said solid, Josh. I didn't even really think about this to articulate it so clearly, is ask the question, but listen to the answer. So many people hear, but don't listen, right? Or they'll hear the sounds and they'll not actually really understand and think about the words that are being said, which happens all the time. How many times do people say, oh, what's your name? And then somebody tells you their name, and we've all done it, and then forget. I've tried to get better at that, and I saw some studies said people good at business can remember people's names, and there there was like a follow-on thing. There's a trick to it, to remembering someone's name when they tell it to you. You have to give a shit. You know, right? And that's the key.
I thought you were gonna say it 3 times in your head. You're like, no, give a shit.
Yeah, the minute you actually care about what's your name, hey man, and then they tell it to you, it's like, oh okay, right? It's that personal connection, and I also have respect for you, what you're doing, your message and stuff. So what you're saying has value, right? It's also, don't listen to everybody, you know, don't listen. There's a lot of people but still there's something everybody can teach you. But for the most part, if you're around quality people and surround yourself with quality people, they're going to be speaking about quality items, quality information. So you probably should listen.
Yeah. I also think too, like a lot of that comes from lack of preparation, which basically when you're asking a question and then you don't listen, you're thinking about the next thing you're going to say, right? And that actually happens a lot. I learned it from myself, making a mistake, and also doing the research is just basically preparing so that when you ask the question, you're not thinking about the next thing you're going to ask or say, right? Yeah. So, you know, that's why they give you 2 ears and 1 mouth, right?
Yeah.
Well, I struggled with that for a really long time. Like with the podcast, for example, like I would ask somebody a question. Like when I first started, I would ask somebody a question and like, they'd be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And the whole time I'm looking at them and I'm like processing, like, you know, what am I going to say next? What am I going to say next? Cause I was almost fearful of like, you know, oh shit, some blank moment on camera or whatever, you know? And, so it's funny you said that. I was like, oh yeah, I've done that before. I can relate to it.
I think in the beginning we all do it, right? Because like I know for me, you're nervous, you don't want to fuck up, and usually you do it. But the thing is that it takes a plethora of fuck ups to actually get good at anything, right? It's like the best way to explain it is working out. Like, you know, the first squat, we've talked about this before. You know, you're not really even squatting. You're just kind of moving with a bar like Bambi, like up and down, and it looks so, you know, awkward, but you know, when you get to 10,000, it looks so poised and professional, and just like when you do interactions with people. And I think the biggest thing is communication, right? When you're learning how to actually be a good communicator, that's really what it comes down to. Because, you know, I wish I would have studied this stuff back in school and college, because it's such a powerful skill set, right? Because, you know, going to high school, you know, getting a degree in college, like you don't learn any of this shit, right? You learn it from actually being in the field, interacting with people and talking to people that aren't good talkers, right? And you're like trying to get things out of them that they don't even know. But once you go through, you know, like I said, thousands of people, it's like you really learn those little nuances of people that are just, you know, really difficult to talk to. They're giving you bullshit answers. And so you have to ask it a different way, right? So, I mean, for me, like I'd said, during COVID, that was such a blessing for me, because when things shut down initially before we opened up, like that was everything. The funny thing is going through it, I hated it so much. And I was like, fuck, I got to provide for my family, right? And keep this building going, right? Because we're the providers. But at the end of the day, like, you know, we were doing like the most low ticket, almost embarrassing like programs, because I was like, I have the experience and I know how to help these people, but I've never done this before, right? But going through that, there's such a bigger like skill set being developed in that process that I'm so grateful for it. It's honestly the most valuable skill that I've ever had. So like it's awesome, you know?
And it's also from the repetition, right? Repetition's the architect of achievement. I love that, because if you want to get better at shooting, you shoot. If you want to get better at bench pressing, you bench press. If you want to get better at fighting, you fight. If you want to get better at communicating, you communicate. Because there's an art to it, because it's pairing it with emotion, right? It's not somebody who's just all analytical and all science is generally not a great communicator, right? Unless their EQ is really high. So you have to have a bunch of things coming together to be a very good communicator. You need the repetition at actually communicating. Then you need the EQ. You need self-awareness. You also need environmental awareness to be able to kind of read a room and a situation and feel people's energies, and also be correct yourself and not be weird, not having done a bunch of weird shit. Now you're weird, and so you know all that's.
Yeah, we all have done weird shit.
Yeah, you know, and when your energy's off and weird, you just can't communicate the same. So it's being clear. So many things come together to be a good communicator. And what I know is an issue now is people don't communicate as much. I mean, think about when maybe not you, when we were like in high school and like coming up, when you go to parties, you're not on your phone. You're talking to people, right? When you would actually just you didn't have the availability of it. You weren't on your phone. And so nowadays people see a lot of communication, but they don't, and they understand body language very well, but when you talk to them, they're like, meh. You're like, you know, I'm like, whoa, dude, like, so loosen up a little bit, because it takes repetition.
100%, I agree. Yeah.
I didn't go to parties in high school because I had a kid.
Yeah.
You didn't miss anything. Trust me.
Yeah.
It was all a waste of time.
Yeah. All we were doing is practicing communication. That's about it.
Yeah. So how did you? When did you realize this, and when did you start actually, like, actively working on communication? And because you are, like, even in your stories or on all of the podcasts that you're on, you have a way of communicating things. It's like you can tell you've practiced. But like, when did you start realizing, hey, this is something I need to work on? But also, like, through repetition, how did you do that? Just pulling your phone out and doing that, or having conversations with people? Like, how did you build that skill set?
I, like everybody, you know, have a fear of public speaking. You know, just the sympathetic nervous system kicks off. Studied a little bit in college, knew it was important, wasn't really like a main focus or anything. When I got into the SEAL teams, ironically, of all places, one of the major pieces of every cell is public speaking. And so you have to, because the rooted reason is you brief generals, you brief officers, you brief a mission plan, and you have to do it in front of some heavy brass sometimes. So what they do is every mission, you'll have your PowerPoint presentation, you brief your slide. If you're a sniper, if you're a medic or whatever, you do your slide and then brief it to a room of like 60 SEALs. And then they have they give you the rundown. Hey man, you're doing weird shit with your face, or, you know, you're moving around, you stop touching your hands, or you have your weird quirks. And so there was that piece that just over years and years of doing that, every cell you get confidence from the repetition, and then also just a little bit of honest feedback, for lack of a better word, just very direct feedback. Then also on the actual, like, communicating on a camera, man, I read this book that said something about like 85 times, and we might have mentioned this before, but it was like, hey, if you do something 86 times in a row, you'll be like much better at it. So I was in the hospital, man. I tore my medial calf muscle in the Foreign Legion. And so they're like, I was still running on it for a couple of years, but it was time to get it checked out. And so they sent me to the hospital. So I was in the hospital in France in my own room going, well, there's no better time to practice than now. And so if I want to like kind of get into the coach space, I got to speak on camera. So I set the thing down and I made a thing. I said 86 days in a row, I'm going to speak stream of consciousness to the camera, not turn it off, not press stop, not re-record, none of that. So I was just talking, man, it looked like a train wreck, man. My first ones. I saved the videos.
I think did you ever post them? Is this where you were wearing your get up in your
no, those were actually the good, those were actually after the good ones. These were like even way raw. Like I'm sitting in like the hospital, like eating and like I'm doing weird stuff, man. But I would watch it back. Okay, and then and I would do that every day. And then I started doing them after the gym, in the car, just for myself. Stream of consciousness, just like a kind of a video diary. And then it got better, and it got a little bit more comfortable, and that was about it.
So something that you said that stood out to me in your, he's with Big John, actually, who we've had on the podcast before. Big John.
Big John, what's up, man?
Yes, Big John. Shout out to Big John. You said you're not going to rise to the occasion. Yeah. You're going to fall to your worst day of training. Yeah. Can you expand on that a little bit? Because I thought when you said that, I was like, wow. I was like, that's powerful. Yeah. Like that, I can relate to that a ton. That's very true.
Yeah. So you do jiu-jitsu, right? And you've also done striking and all that. So it's like, and this was related to on training days. Like we would be training, native units and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, it's gonna be good if it kicks off, I'm gonna be good." I'm like, "No, bro, you're not good. You're not hitting the target now, right? You think when your adrenaline's going and you're shaking and you're out of breath that you're gonna hit better. The truth is that's why when people shoot at the range and stuff, they're like, "Yeah, I can do it." I'm like, "All right, if something really happens, it's probably gonna be dark." You're trying to find it. You're going to be out of breath. I go, do 15 burpees and then shoot. Yeah. Right? So practice in a stressed environment. And that's kind of what I rooted to is, man, your level of training has got to be so high. So imagine you're doing jiu-jitsu, right? Imagine something kicks off in the street and now you're running and maybe you're dealing with multiple people. It's like, you think you're going to be like that crisp technique? No, you're gonna fall back on some very rudimentary stuff that it's like that Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. That's really, it's a little bit different, but it's all rooted in the same foundation of, if you are not in shape, you're a man and you're like, "Yeah, I'm strong." I'm like, "Well, have you tested your strength?" They're like, "Yeah, if I had to save my family, I would save them." Have you run with weight in any recent time? Like, you think you're going to run into a burning house and carry your, go test it out. Yeah. See where you're at. Go put some weight on, go do some hill sprints, go lift some weight, man, because you're not going to get some superhuman strength when the time arises. It's not going to happen, man. Right? You're going to be in your worst level on your worst day. Imagine you sick in the gym. That's you in a really bad situation. So you better rise that floor.
100%. Yeah, I mean, when adrenaline's shaking, when everything is, when shit hits the fan, right? Yeah, you are going to resort back to that worst day of training. I mean, I think about that a lot from when I'm training jiu-jitsu. I try to, even though I'm absolutely gassed as fuck, nope, hey, where's the black belt? Where's the brown? Here, come on, let's go. Beat me up when I'm at my worst, because I know it's going to come at a time where, I'm not prepared, So when you said that message, I was like, wow, that's it hit me. I was like, that's very true. I got to step my training up. I got to step my game up, because when shit hits the fan, I got to be able to protect my family, and it's going to be an adrenaline out fucking shit that goes down. Going back to what you said, you're at the range and you're shooting, right? You're going to be off target and missing, right? What the fuck makes you think you're going to hit the target? That's you ever seen you ever hear the stories of something like that happens and people they're this far apart and they fucking can't hit the guy because they're shooting everywhere else.
Shots fired, nobody's
hit. But even going back to, and I don't want to get political with it, but did you see the video of the Secret Service chick who she couldn't fucking find her holster? You see that video? Yes. And it was what, as a Navy SEAL, what were your thoughts when you saw that? Did you training? She didn't fucking train. What were your thoughts when you saw that?
Yeah, in some of my circles, we obviously broke that footage down pretty. We were I mean, it's just glaringly obvious, the lack of training. It's repetition. You got to do it so much that you can't miss it. Yeah. There's a totally different, like, you would have to try to miss your holster, right? Or it would take like work because your touch points and your standard operating procedures are so, it's reflexive. Exactly. It's so rooted. You're not even thinking about it. And you could be doing a million other things. There's a ton of stuff too, but I saw with that, just looking down and still not getting it. And when you're looking down, what are you also not looking for? Threats, right? There's so many things that were going on there that just was like, wow. And that's there because what did they do? They lowered the standard. They lowered the floor to allow people in for whatever reason, whatever political reason, and proof's in the pudding.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I train 6 days a week. We talked about this earlier. Is like, I don't even want to think about it when I wake up in the morning. Fuck, should I go? Should I not? Should I sleep a little bit more? I don't give a fuck if the world's on fire, because it was at one point it was on fire around here, and I still went. You know, I was deadlifting with the smoke, and my eyes were all fucking puffy and red.
When the Thomas fire was happening, this place was smoked out.
Yeah. So, but I still went, and you know, like when I look back on that, like I'm so grateful that I went through the days. Because like I said, now it's a reflex, right? I don't have to think about it. I don't have to look, right? It's just like you wake up, you go, it's automatic. Yeah. You know, and I feel like if more people did that out there and made it a standard, like, because the thing is like, think about the things that you'll do when your kids are at stake, right? Or you have to provide or come up with rent. We always find a way. Yeah. And I look even now in my life, like when my back's up against the wall, I always find a way. So it's like, if we can kind of like think about that in perspective, like there's a lot of people that we're helping out there that I wish that they could adopt that belief and perspective, because if that was the case, humans are amazing on finding a way when there's no other options, right? There's no plan B. And if you cannot give yourself that plan B, like you'll do whatever it takes. You know, it's like burn the boats, right? To take the island.
Dude, you paint yourself into that proverbial corner. People will ask me sometimes, they're like, oh, how do you pass buds? Right? That kind of old question. Like, do you thought about quitting? Everyone thought about quitting. Oh, no. I go, because in my head, I had just gotten out of jail to get there. And also I was like, I had student loans. So I had in my head told myself the story, bro, I couldn't even afford being in the regular military. My mom had co-signed on loans for college and all this stuff. And I was like, dude, I had no other options too, because no other branches would take me. So I had painted myself into this corner psychologically that I had to do it. I think Alex Hormozy said something great. He said, it's amazing what you can get done when you have to. I really like that, man. It's amazing what you can get done when you have to. So what you've done is you've just created what would be an amazing week for somebody else. They're like, man, I'm a rock star, is your baseline. Yeah. It's your floor. You've raised your floor to such a level where you're like, oh, it's automatic. There's so many variables in life, family, sickness, finance, all these things. Bro, root the daily disciplines that you can control. Automatics, you don't got to think about it.
I was going to say those are the things we can't control. So it's like one of the few things that you can is making those decisions, right? And I always say decisions shape your destiny for every single one of us. So it's like if you just decide and there's no plan B, like you'd be amazed on what you can create, you know, physically, you know, mentally, financially, like spiritually, like in life, when you just don't give yourself the option, you know? There's no plan B.
The plan B is the path of least resistance. Always, right? Just by design, it's plan B. Yeah. Path of least resistance leaves rivers crooked, man. Yeah. Right? So it's like always going this one way. Next thing you know, man, where are you? You're way off track.
Don't negotiate with the price you're willing to pay for what you really want and what you deserve in life. And when you don't, like, again, like, you know, I feel like that's the life God has planned for you and every one of us. But like, unfortunately, we negotiate, right? We're like, I could sleep in a little bit more, or I could let my foot off the gas, or maybe not do as many outreaches, right? Or emails, or whatever it is. But like when I've done my best work, it's just output is like ridiculous, you know? Almost to the point where it's like I'm burning the candle at both ends. And that's the part where I actually probably is my biggest challenge, is I like just getting up a little too early and going to bed a little too late, trying to do one more thing, you know? Which I feel like if that's your biggest challenge, you know, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's easier to pull back the reins, but it's harder to mush, right? It's easier to put the brakes on people, but it's a lot harder to kick people in the ass and get them to momentum.
What's the saying? I hope I don't butcher it, but I believe it goes, if you don't sacrifice for the things you want in life, you sacrifice the things you want in life. Yeah. It's right there. It speaks to me in that
the things you want become the sacrifice.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like for me, when I was working for BMW, sales manager at a store, they sell, I was left with a choice. Okay, plan B in my head, right, was I'll be a sheriff, right? I know a lot of guys that are in sheriffs. They making money. I'm a big dude. I lift. Like, I'd get along with all the guys. I like to train. And but I remember like just putting myself in this perspective. Like, I was like, man, like if I don't do what I'm truly meant here to do, like I'm gonna fucking regret this. Like, fuck that plan B shit. I'm gonna do this. And I quit my job. And going back to what Alex Hormozy said, right? Like, you'd be surprised what you can do when you have to. I had, 2 kids, my wife, living in Southern California. So my monthly expenses is fucking, more than $10,000 a month. Just my expenses, right?
Just wait.
And I was like, and I was like, all right, like, but how fast my company was able to grow, because I'd been coaching for a couple of years, right? But it was never, it was on the side. I was working for BMW. I had a full-time job, so my coaching was on the side. But when I made the jump, my company scaled so fast because I had to. Like, there was like, if I didn't scale my company fast, I wasn't going to put food on my fucking kid's plate. I had absolutely no choice but to do that. So that, what you said, quoting Alex Hormozy, it spoke with me in volumes because of that.
Dude, fear's a powerful driver. Fear. People say, hey, don't be. Fear's great. If it's used in the right way. If you're like, okay, but also what you said something important there, which is you made the jump. That step across that gap, which we've all done. To kind of be sitting here talking about it is what is the biggest hang up for most people that I talk with, and is they won't just commit to being excellent. Like, they won't just commit. Maybe it's financially, they won't commit on chopping away some of those habits or vices that are holding them back. It's this fear of, first of all, it's just fear of change. It's also fear of commitment, fear of failure. There's all these. Don't be a slave of fear, man. Right? You'll never, ever achieve anything business-wise or anything. Man, I had so many levels of fear. I was terrified to go into SEAL training. I thought I was going to fail. I hate running. And so I knew you had to run. I was terrified, bro, of failing and then ending up on a ship in the Navy. It's not what I wanted. So I was really terrified of that, terrified the whole way through of getting hurt or failing, right? Things that I couldn't control. That was terrifying. Then also going back into the Foreign Legion after I got out of the military, having to do it all again at the bottom. I was terrified of what I was walking into. But I was just allowing it to frame my forward momentum. I was just using that fear as fuel. But it's also identifying what you're scared of. That self-awareness is massively important. What are you afraid of? Not making the money, right? So that was fueling. Be very clear of actual and honest, man, about what you're afraid of. Because once you actually understand it, you could point at it. It takes the fear. It takes a little bit of the power away from it, and also then you can use it correctly. What am I actually scared of here? And that's why if you're looking into going into some self-development program or what a business or whatever, identify what you're afraid of so you can start identifying and actually managing that fear much, much better.
Yeah, or just play it out. Like, what does that look like if you actually play out the scenario, right?
Oh, I like that.
So, and I think that's been very helpful for me. But I even now have to remind myself on the daily. It's like the fear of failure. We talked about this earlier in the gym. The deeper root of that is actually just the fear of not being loved. Mm-hmm. So, like, that's actually the deeper meaning of all of it. And it sounds crazy when you really play it out because, like maybe moving to another state, right? Because California is so expensive. But it's like, yeah, but then you're moving to a place where there's another set of problems, It's just a different, it could be the heat, it could be, opportunities out there, you got to charge less, whatever it is, right? So it's like another set of things. But like, the fear of not being loved is like such a it's not even true. Like, like your partner not loving you, or, your clients, your people not, supporting you or whatever. You're just going to have a whole list of other people that are going to be, lined up to want help as well. Right. So I think really just playing it out in the scenario, right, of like how it would actually look if you totally like think it through, that's really helpful too. And like you said, it does dissipate some of the power that it has.
We also catastrophize. Our brain, understanding the biological wiring is helpful. Like reading a lot about human psychology has helped me because it helped me understand myself. We have rooted anxiety when we get up. That was to get us moving, right? If you just wake up in inner peace and clarity, we would have gotten eaten by saber-toothed tigers, right? We would have just laid in the cave. Why would you get up? When you wake up, find food, find shelter, move, right? It's that good. So you shouldn't feel great when you wake up. You should have a little anxiety. That's normal. And then understanding that, and then understanding the fear-based piece of, hey man, where does that actually rooted, that fear being loved, right? Tribe, connection, actually failing, right? You're not valuable. Right. That piece, you're not a valuable member, right? And so that's actually, but that's catastrophizing the worst possible scenario. What if you crush it, right? What if you actually slay and are the most valuable? Yeah. We don't normally go that way though. We naturally go into the negative because we're wired to project possible risks, fears, like that's just, oh, do I have enough water? Do I have enough shelter, right? Where are the pterodactyls? Like all these are the kids in the cave, right? All those things, man.
We're like so far from the cave and the saber-toothed tigers and the pterodactyls, right? Like it's not even, we're hardwired for those circumstances, but it's, dude, the social media and everything at your fingertips and everything that we have now, we're so gifted to be living in the time that we are now, we take it for granted, right? And it's like, let's play it out again. Like you're either gonna have a fucking epic, like world-class story, like hero story, right? Or you're gonna fail and die. Yeah. Like, and then you're dead, and then it doesn't matter anyway. So it's like, and then people forget about you within days. So it's like, honestly, at the end of the day, it's like, just fucking go for it, man. Yeah. Go for the grand slam. One answer. Yeah, and I mean, this is crazy because I know even in our lives, we're being held back in certain areas. So I feel like this is really powerful for us, but the only reason, like you said, why we're sitting here is because we've done this, but you got to do it again, right? Like the same way you burn the boats to lead BMW, you're going to have to do it again, bro, because the 10K is you're not coming up with 100K. Trust me, it's coming, especially if you want to get to the goals that you really want and deserve for your life, right? And it's not easy, but the way that I look at it, and we've talked about this a few times, is that life's not easy. So, the only rewarding shit in life is actually when you fucking earn it and you work for it. And the life of being poor and eroded confidence and self-esteem and fat and weak, like that shit's hard, right?
Brutal.
Fair enough, right?
Yeah.
So like going through the disciplines and getting up early and going through the pain and discomfort and seeing your balance in your bank account go to fucking zero when you have all this shit and you're the guy that everyone's counting on, like that shit's hard, right? And I have pictures on my phone from not even that long ago where I was like, dude, the last time I did a show was one of them where I was like, there was like this crazy, like, almost a, $50,000 credit card bill with $0 in all the bank accounts. And I'm just like, fuck, dude. You can either do two things, give the fuck up and walk away, which, for people like myself, you just don't give yourself that option. Yeah. And, again, you're going to have either an epic story and remember that picture when you go look back on it, or you can just sit there and wallow in self-pity and no one's going to give a fuck about it.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to pay that bill besides you at the end of the day, too. Right?
So fast.
So it's fucking... Yeah. And what's interesting is like, so when it comes to, I'm curious what your perspective is on this. When it comes to, let's say, somebody's health, right? Why is it that, if they see money, oh my God, I got to come up with a $50,000 fucking bill or whatever the bill is, right? They can get their shit together and get in gear, to hustle, make the money, work extra hours, whatever. But for some reason, when it comes to their health, it doesn't fucking matter if they go to the doctor, they get reality checked with, dude, you got heart disease, you got this, XYZ, cancer, whatever. It's like, it still gets put on the back burner.
Yeah.
Like, my personal opinion, what I believe it is I think people don't believe that they are going to die. I think everybody thinks everybody else is going to die, not them. So I think health is always the last thing on somebody's mind because they're like, I'll be fine.
kicking the can down the road.
Like,
they're not uncomfortable enough. That financial pinch is very uncomfortable. So they're forced.
Surface level pain.
It's surface. They're like, I'm just kind of, but they're so used to their physical discomfort. People get comfortable in their own agony, and they get used to it, and because at least they know it, right? And they're like, well, I'm okay, right? I'm better than that guy George down the street. I'm all right. No, you're not all right, because you're not aligned. That subconscious voice is speaking to you, man. That authentic voice of God is speaking to you. Here's another issue that's going along the lines of that is people will have all these pieces aligned. Well, they'll say they're spiritually aligned. I see super fat people going to church all the time. And I always say, man, you think you're going to show up at the pearly gates and what's Jesus going to be like, oh, you crushed it, man? Negative, right? Because you're living in gluttony. It's just the bottom line, right? You're living in gluttony. So you don't got to be getting on stage either, right? That's not ever what I'm pointing at. I say, but you got to lean into a little discomfort. And it's not even a sacrifice because the sacrifice entails that you don't have some benefit at the end. Man, you're going to look better, feel better, and more importantly, be better for your family and show up, be around longer. And also, you're just not living with excess, right? It's just shoving your face in excess is not some type of, there's no great virtue learned there, right? And so like that pinch, that financial pinch, they're forced to take action, I guess is the direct way to answer it. And with that, they can kick the can down the road. Like you said, Josh, we can kick the can down because we're not really pressed. When people are pressed and they're laying in the bed and they go, okay, well, now I have diabetes. So, and I have clients like that. Like, they went super hard in the pain on the alcohol and now they got diabetes. And I have some guys that actually were athletes, man, rugby players and pro. They were like, dude, I had a rough go. And then I picked this up because I was drinking so much. And now they're forced to make it. And they do. A lot of them do. And so I'm really proud of them. But they have to make massive corrective action when you could have just made it a slight adjustment and totally taken the long, much easier road.
It's actually kind of like a scale, like a teeter-totter, and the pain of change in their perception of it has to actually be less than the pain of staying where they're at.
Oh, I like that.
Is like when they're in that space, the pain of where they're at isn't painful enough, or the illusion of it, right, isn't painful enough. But like, again, I talk to people just about every single day. When that pain of change is to a level, they'll do pretty much whatever it takes, to get to that next other side. But this is also with business too. It's not just with fitness. Fitness is just such a practical example that affects every area of your life, right? But there's a guy that I help that's extremely overweight, and he doesn't have any blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes yet, but it's like he's never had that scary prognosis or the pain, and it should be enough to look in the mirror and be just fucking embarrassed, honestly. And if you're not proud of what you see in the mirror, like, you should be doing something about it, There's
that gift of desperation, and I actually, I always love that because it's a gift when you're at that deep visceral pain. And I'll give you full disclosure. I'll give example in my life because I can't point fingers of when I was at a moment when I was in my truck and I was suicidal, man. I had a sawed-off shotgun on my lap, and I was sitting there for 3 days because of what? It was my own decisions, right? Drug use, just incorrect living, poor business decisions, all these things stacked, these bad habits, and I was forced. Before, I was still had some money, had the girl, had the house, and so I was comfortable, man, right? I knew it wasn't really correct, and I was experiencing a lot of highs and lows, but I was like, But when you're homeless in your truck and you feel like killing yourself, that was the moment when I go, oh, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Right, I had to listen to God. I had to take some direction, but I had to get honest about me needing to make massive corrective action but I'm that thick-headed and that stupid. I needed that hard of a wall to hit for me to go, oh, I need to not keep doing the same things. I need to think differently. I need to move differently. And so that was my visceral pain, because that was a pain I don't worse on my worst enemy, man. Just massive, just absolute hopelessness, which was a scary place to be. And if anybody's watching it and you're there, man, no, there's a way out. It's a way out. Pick a direction, start taking some steps, reach out to some people that maybe are living a life or have a mindset you want, and just start moving. You do not need a perfect plan. You just need an okay plan right now, executed right now. Don't wait, right? Start moving. But you don't need to get to that point is the whole design here. Don't wait until you're at that deep visceral pain to make some changes, or when you get that bad prognosis. Man, if you're hearing it and that calling coming, I should change it now. The minute you start thinking I should probably change some things, change it right then. Don't wait.
It'll be easier to change it now than to wait.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is we like going back to like the path of least resistance. If you truly want the least resistance, fucking change it now before shit really hits the fan.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you don't want it, if you don't want massive pain in your life, man, make the adjustment.
Make the adjustment. Absolutely. Absolutely. So something for the viewers that I want to shout out real quick. If any one of you guys is looking to transform your life and you can resonate with any one of us, Taylor Cavanaugh, TCAV, myself, Ole J, Josh Cohn, I'm going to leave the links down below in the description. You can reach out to any one of us, whoever you relate to, and reach out to us for help, because at the end of the day, that's why we're doing this podcast. That's why we're putting value out there. And that's why each and every one of us is a coach, because we want to help. So if any of you is relating to us on any level, I'm going to leave the links below to reach out to any one of us for us to be able to help you guys out. Now,
if you don't want to, but you know it's good for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Links will be below. So you mentioned God, so that's what I want to bring up. When did you become a man of God? Like when was that a thing? Because at least for me, that wasn't a thing until I was freaking 25 years old, right? Was that something that you were in your family, you had God, and then, you just brought up and it became a thing? Or was this something that you had to go through being in the truck, almost killing yourself, going through SEALs and French Foreign Legion? Like, did you have to go through all these things to meet God? How did you meet God, and when did that all come to fruition?
I've always had, I wasn't raised in the church. I mean, my family would go to church a little bit, but my family and my father, we had his problems with drugs and alcohol. It was kind of a tumultuous in and out, that type of thing. And we would go and then not go. And my mom's also studied Buddhism and stuff. So I was exposed to a lot of things. I've always felt that there was a guiding force in my life. Always, from a very young age, I had like an open dialogue, man, for lack of a better word. Even at my lowest points, in jails or incarcerated, or I've been institutionalized many times, man, for different reasons. I never was like, what? There's no God. I was always like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get out of this one. I've always had that, like, I know this is for a reason. I know I fucked this one up. I'm gonna do better. Like, I always had this, like, I always had faith, I should say, and I've been protected, man, dude. I've had snipers take shots at me, dude, and ducked and hit my hat, dude. I've had crazy stuff happen, in Iraq and different places. And, bro, I've really never even been hurt once, right? I've always felt like I've had a really, really strong guiding protective force around me. And I've moved that way, really. That's kind of, and so I'll read scripture. I've just always kind of felt tapped into that energy.
Yeah. Well, I can relate. It's weird that you said, like, you always had like a faith. It's really weird that you say that, because I never knew what to call it, because I was an atheist my whole life. Yeah. I was, dude, and it's weird. It's like my mom, she was really young when her mom passed away. Her mom died when she was like 40 or whatever, 45. So my mom always talked about, hey, I know I'm going to see her one day again. Right. But that was all that was ever really talked about, like, about God, quote unquote, was like, oh, I'm going to see my family members one day. Like, that's all, like, but like, yeah, I never knew what to call. I always had this, like when I was 17 years old, and I was 16, and I found out, oh, I'm going to be a dad, right? Oh my God. Like, there was always this little thing in the back of my mind that was like, you're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. You're going to be okay. Yeah. And I guess maybe I could call it some sort of faith that was in me that was really small, right? It took, like I said, until I was 25 years to actually, oh, wow, this is what it is. It's God. But it's interesting. Like, yeah, I always had this thing in the back of my head that told me, you're going to be okay. Like, no matter what I was going through, it was just like this little thing, this little tiny voice where everything I thought was so chaotic and crazy in my life, but there was this little voice that was like, nah, you're going to be okay. Yeah. You're going to be okay. So you mentioned so you got shot at and do you have what's like the, you don't have to get like graphic, but like what's like a crazy story you got about like that where you were getting shot at? Like how is that? Like, what are you thinking about during a moment like that? Like, are you just like, fuck, this is how I'm going to go. Like, I'm getting shot at, this motherfucker's going to get me. Like, what's your mindset like? Or is it going back to what we talked about earlier, right? Rise to the occasion or fall to the worst day of training. Is it you're so programmed in a situation like that you just like,
man, there's been, much heavier combat, these guys who are in Fallujah and stuff. So it's a little bit different how it was in Iraq when I was there. It's like trench warfare kind of. It's like stacked across with ISIS. But the adrenaline's going, but I never really had a fear, really. I mean, maybe I wasn't in the exact type of situation where I could have been like, oh man, I think this is going to happen. Closest I've been to dying was drowning, in the SEAL teams, really. But I've always felt really prepared. That's kind of goes actually, I guess, really along lines with what we were saying. When I was with the guys I was with, we had an air overhead sometimes. I always felt really, man. By the time you go on your first deployment in the SEAL teams, man, you have been training for 3.5 years, right? It's a long vetting process of getting to actually your first deployment. You're not like some 18-year-old kid just getting shoved out there like, in some of the big army units. So I always felt like, man, I was, really well prepared. By the time I showed up to my first deployment in Yemen, I mean, I was a sniper, a JTAC. I was, had spent a lot of time on a gun and knowing my gear and communications and also with your teammates who you're with for years. You know what the guy looks like on night vision at night by his silhouette, right? By how he walks, and you just know people so well. So it was the familiarity, and going back to the training was just so rooted that it was I felt pretty confident.
Yeah, that just connects so well to like what we were talking about earlier. That's why I was kind of like, I wanted to bring it up because I can imagine that. Like, you're just training for 3.5 years straight of just like, how many hours a day were you training those for those years? I mean, is it like literally kind of clock? I don't want to say clock in, but clock in, train for 8 hours, kind of clock out. Like, it's train. Man,
no, I mean, when you're gone a lot, so it's like. I'll give somebody that the first year I was in the SEAL teams, I was gone 270 days, I think, not deployed. So that was just normal, just work. So we're gone a lot training, and some of those days are 20 hours, 21, right? You're not really, because you're doing night training, day, all briefs, public speaking. There's all these other things stacked on top of it. So it was a lot, man, countless.
What would you say is harder, going through BUDS or having to do the 3.5 years of all that traveling, all that training, day and night, all of that? Like, what do you think is actually harder?
BUDS. BUDS was harder. Yeah, no, it was because it was just like out of body experience, like hard, and a lot of hypothermia and stuff. The training, it was fine because I was doing what I wanted to do, man. I was loving it, man. I did not want to be anywhere else. For guys with families and stuff, it's hard, right? They experience it. That's divorce rate in the special operations, special forces is very high for that reason. But for me, man, I was exactly right in my dream, man. My dream, since I was a child, I was there. So I was fully, they could have kept me there 24 hours a day. I would have been fine with it. And you're also living out in town, though. So when you come back home on your weeks here, weeks there, bro, I lived in a high rise downtown, man. So it was like, you get to go out with the boys and hang out, and so it was a good lifestyle.
So you're in December. You're gonna be a father, right?
Man,
up, right? You already talked about that before online.
We can open up right. No, I haven't said anything yet, but let's send it, bro. Okay. Because I'm good with it. No, it's not a bad thing because my girl's gonna do a post and stuff, so coming up. So yeah, so it's all good.
Maybe this will go out after.
No, I'm good. No, it's honestly not a big deal because people already see she's already I'm doing videos and people are like, hey, they can see. They got eyeballs. True. Yeah, they got eyeballs. No, man. So yeah, but it's big stuff because what's I'm all about synchronicities too, right? Synchronicities, and I think God speaks to us in numbers, and there's universal signs, and my whole life there's been synchronicities with dates, right? And the day I got out of the Foreign Legion and got back to the United States is the same day a year later my baby's due.
Wow.
Which I find very interesting, right? Wow. Yeah, so 1 year to the day in December was when I touched down and the baby's due. So I thought that was cool.
That is. I mean, that just goes to show, like, sometimes there's not just coincidences. God is.
It's kind of like, hey, man, things are going right. But I think it's important to recognize, because when I think back in times of my life when I wasn't seeing synchronicities, it's because I had so much noise and so much distraction, and I was so far away from God and my aligned path that I was so lost in the sauce. I was not seeing any signs. There was no repeating numbers. There was I wasn't, none of that. And I think it's a good point. If you're seeing some of those, man, take note. Right? There's a reason, right? It's sometimes there's signs like, hey, you're doing the right stuff. You're on the right path.
What are your thoughts on being a dad? Like after everything,
Fear.
Is this? I was gonna say, is comparing all of the very, lack of better, scary things that you've been through. Yeah. Like, how does fatherhood now stack up to this? Is this are you scared? Are you, have you been applying the principles of your preparation to like being prepared as a parent, as a father? Like, how are you aligning all of this to be prepared and be ready for when your baby is born?
Growing up, I think I have rooted scarcity mindset that I need to combat. Right. It's because, we had financially tough times when my mom was like single and stuff growing up. And so for me, that's like full focus is I want stability. That's like the biggest fear is like, man, will I be able to provide stability? And, I thank God. Right. And I put in the hours to make sure I can, but I always have that rooted little boy in me or something like, oh, can I do this? Because I saw a lot of failure. I didn't see it work well, right? From my example growing up, it was not like some smooth road. And so, but I know I can, that's where the deliberate self-talk and also following up with rooted daily habits, right? My family's not going to be successful. My child's life's not going to be successful if my self-development isn't good. If I don't stay locked on the daily habits, if I don't stay clear, stay aligned, stay morally correct, and all these pieces that you need to do, because that's where people self-sabotage, and that's how you create chaos in your family's life, is by you making the wrong choice, by you not deciding to get up and go when it's like all these pieces that you just got to make sure you just keep knocking them down. What works will continue to work. You just got to, and things get more complicated too, so your systems have to be automatic. I can imagine, right?
I think a massive amount of insecurity is really like a good thing. I know it might sound really weird for people out there, but that's a big driver for high performers and people that are elite and perform at the highest level. Like, even after you've quote unquote made it, right? And here's another thing, like, the minute you decide you're successful, you're successful. That's another thing. Like, I'm still trying to learn, because it doesn't really matter, because when you get to the goalpost just moves, right? Yeah. But you still have that insecure. I know for me, I told you a little bit about my upbringing and losing my father when I was young and not having a mentor and being very insecure. And I had long hair. I was picked on. I was skinny fat. Like all those things really built me who I am today. But I'm also still inside at the end of the day. Like, I have to look at that stack of all the shit I did to actually prove to myself, like, this isn't about proving it to other people anymore. It's about, showing myself like, hey, you can do it again because you already did it. And here's a whole stack of reference points. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So when you go, get to the next level or take on the new baby, right? We're on number 4 in November. So we'll be close.
Nice.
It's scary because it's like, am I going to be able to provide? Because it was so hard last time. And that was like one of the biggest tough conversations that we had, because this time we were planning for it a year from now, but then, of course, God had a different plan, right? Yeah. So, but it's like that financial hardship, or the illusion of it, right? Because they say $1 million, and this was before all this, inflation and shit recently, that it would take to raise a kid from born to 18. So I'm sure it's way more than that now. But like, what else are you here for? You're going to create a legacy, or are you just going to like do a bunch of stuff and do nothing with it, right? I mean, I feel like no offense to people that don't have children out there, but I mean, that's like, it's almost like being an addict. It's like one of the most selfish things you could do. Cause like, what are you really doing all this for? Like, what's your legacy about? Like, what do you want to be remembered for? And at the end of the day, recreating and showing your kids maybe a different life, right, than how you grew up with your mom. And like for me, growing up in an alcoholism family and losing my parents both, fairly young, like I have an opportunity now to shift that whole and break the generational curse and like not allow addiction to run in my family, bloodline. Because I, can see clearly that it doesn't do very well with my genetics and bloodline. So I have the opportunity to shift that and change that, because the first 30 years of my life, I was so like, why did my dad not get sober, right? And stay sober? And why would my parents not want to live longer to be here for me and my kids? But they made those decisions that were bad ones and bad habits, so we could be here today to do this kind of stuff, right? To show people that you can come from a broken, like fucked up background and change it. It's never too late. And, if you can show your kids that, and the people that you help and communicate with, like there's nothing better than that. Because in 100 years, I always say we're going to be gone and long gone and dead. So like what really matters, and your legacy is really all you have. So breaking those things that were not the right things, and we're not perfect. We're still going to fuck up and make mistakes and fall short, but it's about doing better, And I think if we can continually do better and not let those limiting beliefs and, insecurities and, low points in our life and past, things that we saw, experiences, like I feel like we can make a difference in the world today for sure.
Oh yeah. And it starts with the family too, right? It starts with yourself, right? You can't help your family if you're not good. And I think that's probably what a lot of your client, base with guys with kids and stuff is. It starts with, bro, you're trying to lead, but you're not good. That's very, very impossible. And so get right, then you can get your family right, then you can actually branch out and get your community right. Once you're thriving, look what you can do financially. Look what you can do when you're thriving, and you can actually make serious moves and help people on some serious capacity. And that past doesn't define the present. The present defines the past. That story you tell yourself, that's what matters. What story do you tell yourself about your pain and your history? That's the most important piece, because that's what's forming your reality, right? Is that all that pain, you're like, hey man, I'm glad that happened. So if you're having pain from shame and regret, we all have it. All have bad decisions, all made bad moves, all have family history. Man, the only way to look at it is good. The only way, it's the only smart way. Hey man, I'm glad that happened. I'm glad I went through that, because now we're sitting right here, right? It's made the butterfly effect of that made the reality. We're sitting at this in this frame of consciousness, being able to point at it and be deliberate about thinking of it as positive.
Yeah. And basically just saying that those experiences happen for us, not to us, which is something we've said many times, is really just the only way. Because if you don't give yourself an option, because I said I spent 30 plus years of my life like thinking like, why me? Like, why couldn't I have? And it wasn't like the worst life or upbringing, but like I feel like there's a lot of things that could have been better. But shifting that perspective and those things happening for me, not to me, was huge. Yeah. And I have to remind myself, because right, it's easy to fall back in those old funky mindsets and like low points when you're in a dark place. And we all have days where you wake up and you're in a state of reaction, and it's like a bill you have to pay or stressed about something, and you can change that. You know? So it's not too late. Yeah.
Serious question here, TCAV. Yeah. Because it's a baby girl. Are you gonna let her? Because it's a baby girl, right? Are you gonna let her paint your toenails and have tea parties with her?
Yeah, man, dude, I'm down with tea parties, bro. I'm down, man. Just painting the lines.
Yeah. Well, I before my jiu-jitsu competition back in June, I was like, my daughter, she's 2, right? And so she was like trying to paint my nails, and I was like, no, like I'm freaking gonna be like out there competing. And then I was like, you know what? I was like, let's fucking do it, right? So I had her paint my toenails, right? So my toenails were all red and pink. And what's funny is in my competition, right, I landed the go-go plata, which I told you about earlier. So for those of you guys who don't know, I basically choked this dude out with the front part of my foot right here. I wrapped my foot underneath his chin and pulled down on his head, and I was able to choke him out with this. And it was funny because there's a video of me doing it, and you see me choking this dude out, and my fucking toenails are painted.
Style points.
So I was like, I just had to throw that out there and ask. But no, yeah, dude, like seriously, man, that's and everything that you were saying, and now it's even like more of a time to be locked in, and that's what a lot of, maybe the viewers who are watching struggle with is like they welcome a new kid or they have a kid for the first time and maybe they were exercising, maybe they were kind of on a good, healthy path. And then this added complication of a child throws everything off, right? When in reality, it's fucking now more important than ever to stay locked in because going back to legacy and all this, right? Your child is going to grow up to be another version of you. So if you aren't living at the higher level, if you're not staying in shape, if you're not living a high quality life, what makes you think your child is going to, right?
Yeah, it won't happen, man. And really, it doesn't matter what outside influences. You can keep stuff very simple, food wise and things, and keep on a path, man. There was a guy he was like a manager at a restaurant, shall remain nameless. He came over to me and he was talking to me about the baby. Okay, we got a baby. He's like, oh, we had one this year too. And so he goes, man, I put on 30 pounds. And I'm like, okay. And I'm just kind of like letting him kind of go with this thing. He goes, yeah, man, those cravings are real. I started eating sour cream. I never eaten sour cream before. I'm going, what? And he goes, yeah, the doctor, he told me those cravings are real. I said, the cravings are for the woman, right? Yeah. He was dead serious. And he was like dead serious. He's like, what? I'm like, bro, the cravings aren't yours, man. Like, it's because she's pregnant. This guy was under the impression that his wife being pregnant was why he gained 30 pounds. I'm like, bro, take some ownership at some point, man. And that's another piece is make a decision, right? You can keep things aren't always perfect, but you can stay in the lines, right? Don't hang it up because you can also say no. Yeah, and nobody's forcing you. And you brought up a good point about quality of life, and you have got to set the example. Are you the head of the house? The fish stinks from the head. Are you the head of the household, or aren't you? Things are not going to flow well if you're not good. And yeah, that's responsibility, and yeah, that's a lot. It's not always easy, but there's no other option, right? Because there's no other option. You want to keep your energy level and your clarity good. The alignment has to be there.
Well, like one thing I always ask, some of my either clients or potential people who want to join, right, is I say, all right, so you want your child to be healthy, right? Yeah, you want your child to thrive, right? You want your child to have a good quality of life. You want them to have fun. You want all these things. So you realize that in order for them to have all of these things, they have to learn that from somewhere. Where are they going to learn that from? The fucking school? Yeah. No, they're not going to learn that shit at school.
Definitely not.
They're going to learn it by watching you. So if you aren't healthy, if you aren't happy, if you have a bad relationship with your wife, if you are living a poor quality life, if you're not thriving, how is your child who you want that for going to learn how to do that if you're the one who's supposed to teach it and you're not doing that?
100%. So people pass their pain on to the people they love the most. Right? Like it's like it's very clear when you just say it like that. And we all have things we got to be aware of. That's why that outside accountability helps. We can't see the holes in our own game, right? I know, we all have hang-ups and things that probably be very, very cautious about what they're seeing because they're not going to do what you said. They're going to do what you do. Keep it simple, man. Like I have a client, he's started getting correct, started doing it. Now his little boy, who was kind of coming into this process of being more aware, right at the time as he's in this self-development phase, and now he just thinks men work out and track their food. Yeah. That's what he thinks is normal. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, he goes, man, I really appreciate it because now he comes down and works out with me in the gym, and he's like, yeah, Dad, we got to get our protein in. I was like, it gives me chills, man, because it's rooting that foundation in so clearly that he just thinks that's what men do. Yeah. Work out and track their food. I'm like, damn, that's powerful to learn at 5 and 6 years old, man. Like he goes, he's like, man, we got to get our reps in. It's like just one more rep, I didn't get enough chicken breast in, man. It's powerful stuff, right? That people want to change the world, man. Change with your family. Change yourself first. You see a lot of people out here, especially during this political time, out protesting. Man, these people's houses are in shambles and they're trying to arrange the world, like Jordan Peterson said. Love that, man. It's like, bro, start at home with the things that you can control. If you can't even do that, shut the fuck up. Right? Seriously. That's why I'm not going to politics, man, because I always go, man, I got so many more things I need to get locked on, man. Who would I be to tell some political realm what they need to do to arrange one of the most complex societies in the world, man?
100%. Absolutely. Well, so a question that I have for you that I didn't get to ask last time, but I want to ask you this time. What is the number one most important or I guess most significant piece of advice that you've gotten from somebody that completely changed your life? Like one time where either, I don't know, mom, mentor, someone in SEALs, somebody gave you a piece of advice and told you something and it changed your life forever. And it was the one time you were just like, wow, that fucking changed everything.
I don't know if it's one person that ever told me one thing. I'm sure there is. I'd have to like do some deep dive on that. But it's one thing I started doing that changed the game for me. And that was setting an early wake up time all the time. That one thing changed so much in my life at just 7 days a week. Set the early wake early, uncomfortably early. And what that does for the secondary and tertiary effects of your mental clarity and being ahead of the game, not being reactive, starting proactive, allowing yourself time to understand yourself, raise your consciousness of, hold some gratitude, zoom out a little bit. And also there's less friction in the air early in the morning, right? There's less people up. There's less, they call it God's time, man. They call it God's time, hours 3 to 6 in the morning, right? I've heard that some guru said that somewhere. I really like that. It's a very powerful time of day that I will just always do for the rest of my life. Changed everything.
4:30. What about 4:30?
well, 3 to 6. 3 to 6, they call it God's time. So I was like, they say man is most aligned with his purpose at 3:30 in the morning. That's the word on the street.
Well, when you have that baby girl, you're gonna be. It might start at 1:30.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Hey, bro.
Just so you know.
All night.
Early bird gets the worm, dog.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be up ready.
Yep. You'll be prepared.
Yeah.
There you go.
Man, I'm gonna keep it, right? I'll keep it, man. If you got to get up, and obviously things will change with that. What's going on at that time, right? But I'll always root that deep. That was a game changer for me.
Yeah, awesome. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm kind of it's interesting because I woke up early for so many years, and I know Josh always gives me shit for it because I wake up later. I wake up at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, right? I used to always wake up at 4, but then I found, and this is just what works for me, and it's interesting to hear the perspectives and kind of combine them and see what works. My God's time is at like from 10 to like 1 at night. I stay up late, but I have like uninterrupted for sure. Like it's this weird moment where I get to reflect on my day and go through all of the things that I did today and really ask myself, did I do everything that I was supposed to do today to get me to where I want to go? And it's interesting as I found it personally better for me to do that at night. In the morning, I like waking up. I wake up right away. My wife wakes my son up. My wife actually wakes up a little bit earlier. She gets the stuff ready for the kids. I wake up. Let's get my son up. Let's get my daughter up. We take them to school. And then we come here and we usually train. Or, we might go back home. I might hop on Zooms if I got to do a couple of Zooms. And then I'll come to the gym later. But it's weird is my time that I have found like the most peace at is like from 10 to, it's really like 10 to midnight. But sometimes I'll stay up a little bit later and I'm just in my own zone, processing my day, like, hey, like what could I have done better today? Like, what did I do? I could have done this better. Man, I had this conversation with this client and I told him this. Man, you know what? I probably can give him more value if I would have added this. Let me text him. And I start like processing my day, and then it's like this peaceful, reflective, I don't want to call it meditation because it's not, but it's like this reflective part of my day that I get to have with myself. And and then at the end of the day too, like I'll usually I'm a big like tornadoes guy, so I'll watch like a ton of tornadoes videos, and I'll just watch like it's so random. I know.
Once you move your ass to where they're at, it's towns, right?
It's
It could be right there by the window.
but I'll just watch. I watch like Mother Nature. I'm obsessed with like Mother Nature, and I watch Mother Nature, and then I just like reflect on my day, and it's just weird. Like wow, like this life, God, everything is so like beautiful.
I
Like,
can see that. Yeah,
it's
the power of it. Yeah.
You know, like man, like yeah. I
But
can
you're
go
taking
right
that
there.
reflective time, and
Yeah.
that's the key. Is at some
Yeah.
phase in the day, take that tactical pause and actually reflect on some powerful shit. Don't just move into distraction, which people do. They'll be on their phone to bed, wake up, phone thing, and then just right into no time to also get aligned with, man, what are you doing all this for? Yep.
Yeah, I don't think you have to have like this magical morning routine or even evening routine. You can actually still get to the goal with whatever works best for you. Honestly, like, there's so much shit out now about like, and I used to do a 10-minute morning routine, which is called priming. And it's basically just gratitude, prayer, breathing. But I even stopped that because it was just, time, right? And I'm not saying don't take the time for it, but you got to just do the things that are your biggest ROI, things. I think Hermosi said, like, get up, he gets his coffee, just go straight to work, unless he's enjoying like the morning with his wife or whatever. So, I've done pretty much everything under the sun. So I just definitely think whatever works best for you, do more of that. Right. And outputs.
Yeah, I'm not about some big 2.5 hour biohacking bullshit routine. Like, I think that people spend too much time preparing to work and not working.
Yeah.
Right. And I go expedite what you're doing. Like, my stuff's pretty quick. Like,
Yeah. What's your morning routine like?
Man, I wake up, but I wake up, little self-reflection. I do just like a couple max sets of Mike Tyson push-ups. Then I'll do, that's just to like vibe bump, just to wake me up. And I like the movement, and it's kind of aggressive and good for my shoulder mobility. And then I go into a little visualization by listening to some music. Just get a line quick, man, 20 minutes, sometimes longer if I'm feeling it, sometimes shorter. Might read a little bit, and but that's it. And then I go right into work. Like, pretty much right after that, it's like right into post content, and then from that's probably like 19 more hours of that for the rest of the day. Yeah.
Yep. Josh, do you have anything that you wanted to ask?
I think we went over quite a bit. One thing that I would just add, kind of made me think about this a minute ago when you were asking him about what's the most important takeaway. I don't think there's really one, but I would just say, like, for people out there, like, if someone doesn't have what you want, like, don't listen to them. I think for me, like, a lot of times that distracts people, pulls them off track. We listen to loved ones, family, broke teachers. It's like talking to someone who's been divorced 5 times and talking about marriage, right? Like, it's this that seems so obvious when we take a step back and look into it, but like, if they don't have something you want, like, don't listen to them about that thing, right? Like, building wealth, materialistic, physical, like, if that's a great thing about fitness is if like they're like unhealthy and overweight, like, probably not the best person to take advice from when it comes to like fitness or health, right? So
our government about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the obvious thing, right? Without even being political, if you're just in the middle, looking at a lot of the things that they project out there, it's laughable because it's like the things they're saying to do, and then it's like you look at them or the people that they have, or the people that they have appointed, like, in that field or space. It's like, you don't count. Like, even in California, it's like the dude who runs California, it's like, he's like, wear masks and stay home. And it's like, he's got his restaurant open with all of his homies, like, around a table, like, eating. No mask on. Yeah. So it's like, it's like leadership, going back to that piece. It's like, the best way to lead is do it, is go first, and leading by example is the best way. It's the only way. I think John Wooden said that. So it's like, you got to be that person to be the best parent, the best coach, the best anything. And if you're not doing it, don't expect that you're going to tell your people, your kids, your, associates, or the people that you help and teach and coach, or whatever that is, your employees, if you're not doing it, because, they're not going to listen to you. I can tell you with the kids that, one thing that I've learned as being a parent is like, you got to do that first and go first, because, if you tell them to make a bed, but your bed's all fucked up and like, they're not going to do it. So I think that's probably like the thing that I was thinking about that probably be a huge takeaway for anybody out there. Just like roll with that, and you'll be doing pretty good.
I like that.
Well, and Jesus, you got to remind me, we got to take a picture. There's to there's a picture that Josh has here. We're at his gym. Upstairs is a picture. We got to make sure we snap a picture of it, Jesus, so we can edit it and put it up on so the viewers can see it. There's a picture you have upstairs that says lead by example. And it shows they're like stick figures.
One of my favorites.
And it's like a group of stick figures. And one of them, right, it says lead by example. One of them is like sitting up on like a chariot and he's like whipping the other ones. And the other ones are pushing like this boulder up a hill. And then the other one is an example of the leader actually pulling the boulder
out in
up.
front of everybody.
Yeah, out in front of everybody, right?
Yeah.
Lead by example. Get down. Do it. Right?
That's one of the best examples, for anything and everything in life. If you do that, then you'll find a way, and and again, like, follow that guy who's actually leading by example, not just saying what to do.
Yeah. Follow good business, everything, success, mindset, everything. TCAV, it was a pleasure to have you out here. Smash a chest workout and then have a fucking badass fucking podcast, brother.
Dude, I appreciate it, man.
We got to do it again for sure, dude.
Yeah, I'll be coming back up here, man. I really love this gym, the energy, bro. It's been great, man. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope y'all got something out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where can the viewers go? Shout everything out. Leave the viewers with where they can find you, your socials, your website, everything. Go ahead and let them know where they can find you at. I'll link everything below, you guys. But
You can always get me on my website, TaylorCavanaugh.com. All the contact form, everything goes right to my personal email. So I don't outsource any of that. You'll get me direct. My YouTube, TCAV TV, where we dive into those deeper principles. I do all my videos, stream of consciousness, no stops, no edits. I never retake. I press record once, and I post that video, right? So we keep it real. And my Instagram, TCAV Official. I'm Johnny on the spot with those DMs. And we'll like to post the daily content. I record my morning wake up times, my workouts, all that stuff, and we mix it up with some gym sessions and all that stuff with some different cast of characters all around Southern California and other areas.
It's awesome.
yes, sir. Well, we'll
yeah.
make sure we're going to leave the links for all of Taylor's website, Instagram, YouTube, everything down below so you guys can follow him there, reach out to him there. And thank you guys so much for watching the Different Breed podcast. Have a fantastic rest of your fucking day. Let's get it.